What's that? Oh, right, yeah, we have a new podium. Okay, public comment. We have a new podium over on this side of the room, specially set up for public comment, so please approach the podium. Let me just give a reminder of our rules and guidelines for public comment. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes per person. A comment can express support or dissent for regulatory action. Individuals should not use public comment to complain about specific personnel issues or attack and defame an individual. And that's when we will be watching and hope that you'll stay within those guidelines. Speakers making a highly detailed or complex comment should also consider providing a written outline of their words to the board, which do get to us, and we do appreciate those, and we take a close look at them. Please remember that children may hear your comments. Be thoughtful and professional. Keep your comments appropriate for a general audience. If you have material with explicit language or content, submit that material in writing to the board at publiccomments@schools.utah.gov. And we do understand their concerns about materials. We want to hear those. Please submit those in writing rather than using it where children might hear. I think that covers it. So we've got a number of people in person. I don't think we have anybody online, do we? Okay. Everybody's here in person. Do we have Lexi Cunningham?
2 or 3 minutes.
Let's see. Do we have room for 2 or 3 minutes? We have 2 as our rule, but we try to expand to 3 when we can, depending on the number of people here. Huh?
You better.
We can do 3. Okay. 3 minutes. Oh,
Earl,
there we go.
Earl and Hart, members of the board, Superintendent Dixon and staff, good morning and thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak this morning. I'm Lexi Cunningham and I'm representing the Utah School Boards Association and the Utah School Superintendents Association. Hard act to follow, our national Blue Ribbon schools. That's a great honor for both of them. And I think it's really interesting that both Beaver and Salt Lake City, this is their 3rd national Blue Ribbon recognition, and they both received it in the same year. And so super excited for those schools and those districts. I just wanted to bring you greetings this morning, but also to let you know that in August, our Joint Legislative Committee and our Delegate Assembly passed our priorities, and we've been out around the state sharing those priorities with our board members, and I brought a copy for each of you to have, and we are excited to share those with you. I also brought a copy of our Utah School Boards Association strategic plan. Last spring, our school board members, our board of directors, started working on their strategic plan, focusing on the areas of service, professional development and leadership, and advocacy. And we are sharing their new and improved strategic plan with board members and superintendents and BAs as we've been going around the state. They've been doing a lot of great work to support our board members and our schools, and we are excited to share these with you, and we thank you for the continued partnership that we have in working together. Together we can do great things for the students and the teachers of Utah, so thank you for your continued leadership and service, and we look forward to working with you in the future. And if it's all right, Chair Moss, I'll just put these on the end of the table and Sybil can pass them around. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for the materials. Absolutely. Okay, next up, Renee Pinkney.
Is this? Yes, it is. Okay, we always have to ask that, right? Even on Zoom. Can you hear me? Well, thank you very much, the Board of Education, for allowing me a few minutes to make public comment. And thank you, Board Member Lear, for recognizing teachers every time I walk in and there's a member moment. I'm back here in tears, so thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And as I've traveled around the state this year attending new teacher orientations and then once school started, site visits, I have felt the excitement, the energy, the promise of a new school year. And as I have talked to teachers and asked them how the school year is going, many of them have said, this feels normal. My kids are great. This year feels different. And then recently, I'm enjoying my students. They're good kids, although this year's class have the lowest skills I've ever experienced. We're all well aware of the opportunity gaps that our students experienced as a result of the pandemic. We're also painfully aware of the increased aggressive and disruptive student behavior that is harming our educators and our students, both psychologically and physically. I went to lunch with a principal who's a close friend of mine just to check in, and as she sat down, I immediately noticed the greenish yellow bruise on her face. She instantly said this was caused by a student. She was concerned that I thought maybe her husband had, punched her. And she said, a 6-year-old, it took 3 of us to move him into an empty classroom. And if this doesn't change, if this keeps up, I may not be back next year. So we know that we are stronger together as pro-public education stakeholders. We've seen the difference the investment in education has made over the last 3 years or so. I'm asking you to support a bold WPU increase of 8% to meet these critical and unmet needs that we know our students have, along with other education stakeholders. Our children, our state, our future. Upholding the promise of public education is up to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. We have Todd Kornberg. Am I getting that right, Sybil? That is correct. Todd, not here yet? Okay. Amy Warren.
Hello, I'm Amy Warren. I am the Granger Council President for PTA, along with a member of my school community council. And I just wanted to come today and say thank you for all the hard work that you do to support our educators. I spend a lot of time in my kids' school. It's kind of my favorite place to hang. And I am grateful for the support that our teachers receive. And I just want to encourage you to continue to support our teachers, and our administration, and all of the many things I've started to learn go into that, for more than I could even imagine before I started being a part of PTA. And we have so much amazing educators in Utah in general. I work with administration and PTAs throughout my area, and each one is happy to see me and happy to engage with the kids, and just wants what's best for those kids. So I just want to say thank you for all of those educators, and thank you guys for supporting them, and please continue to support them and do what's right for them. And that's what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Let's see, Sarah Erb.
Good morning, board members and chair and vice chair. I'm happy to be here today. Sometimes I feel like there's so much and so much change that I want to see, and I get a little overwhelmed with how much work there is to do. This fall, in September, I attended the Meaningful Inclusion Conference, one of the ones that has been held around the state. At first, when I saw the notice go out, I was like, they're spending so much energy on doing these things that we should already be doing for our students with disabilities. I'm a parent of a student who is blind and who is a Braille reader, and I was pleasantly surprised when I went to that conference in September how well thought out they had made the conference, and the book that was given to everyone who attended was fantastic. The dialogue that was there was specifically to make sure that people knew in Utah, when we're talking about meaningful inclusion, we're talking about inclusion, belonging for our students with disabilities. And it was really good to hear and to see the different policies that are being put into place, so that when a parent has an issue, we can say, we're directing you to the Board of Education. This is a top-down approach, and they're saying this is what you need to do, which is in line with IDEA and IEP law. And so that, for me, was really helpful, because instead of going to IDEA, which is already there. We can go to the Board of Education, and that can be a resource for our parents and our teachers as they're advocating for each other, hopefully in our IEP meetings that we attend each year. So the Meaningful Inclusion conferences did not disappoint, even for someone that was skeptical like myself. And I appreciated the lemon bars there. I appreciated the the effort and the thoughtfulness that was put into that. Sometimes when I look at different documents and whatnot that are on the Board of Education's website and it says ADA compliant, and I look through and I'm like, this isn't compliant for people with print disabilities or that use screen readers. I get a little bit feisty. So I was really happy to see that. Thank you to our teachers. Thank you to our educators. Thank you to the staff here that does such a great job. And I hope that as we're all people who are gardeners are enjoying the fruits of our labors, we'll continue to see the fruits of the labors for the meaningful inclusion of students with disabilities over the next couple of years. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Julie Clough.
Good morning. My name is Julie Clough, and I am the president-elect for Utah PTA. It is a pleasure to be here this morning. This is not in my wheelhouse. I don't like to stand up. I'm a worker bee. Molly knows I'm a worker bee. I like to be in the back and be the worker and be the supporter. So this is not my forte, but I am happy to be here. I am a mother of 2 adult children with special needs who graduated from Hillcrest High School in Midvale. First of all, I want to thank you for your time and service. I know that you give a lot. You take a lot of scrutiny, and I appreciate those efforts. I know it's not easy. I also want to thank your staff. I know the many hours that they work on behalf of all of our students, and I appreciate that. I wanted to take a minute and to express some of the things that we are seeing that are going on throughout the state of Utah. There are many PTAs and PTSAs, which are secondary schools with student members, that are busily engaged in back-to-school efforts. They're hosting back-to-school family events, meet the teacher events, parent engagement events. That includes donuts, pastries, and muffins. Love those. They are coordinating book fairs and classroom parties and room parent efforts. They're adding enrichment activities to school curriculum through arts, music, STEM, both in class, during recess, and before and after school. These volunteers hold meetings, keep up compliance documents, and attend training so that they can stay informed and empowered to make a difference for all children. In January of this year, Utah PTA presented a check to the governor that represented the volunteer time given in 2022. That check amount was $220,295,012.84, and it represented 735 hours, 735,000 hours of volunteer time. That volunteer time is an investment parents made in their education. That was a time and effort as parents that we made to partner with our schools to make every child's potential a reality. The mission of Utah PTA is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. That is a simple and clear mission, and it's a combined effort. We have a sticker for you guys that we wanted you to have that shares the mission of PTA, and we are so excited to partner with you and the education community to make the reality and future of our children the best and brightest that it can be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie. We've had lemon bars and donuts. If somebody says waffles, we might all just run off to IHOP and leave the meeting. Let's see. Laurel Fetzer.
Good morning, Utah State School Board members and staff. My name is Laurel Fetzer from Murray, Utah. Last month, I spoke about some double standards that are part of the USBE board culture. I personally would like to remind you that you as a board are supposed to be guarding the actual education for the state of Utah for all public education students. Actual reading, writing, math, science, music, art. I love hearing all the positives that I've heard today, but but I would like to see that actual debate can happen in this board and not have free speech shut down. My wish as a parent and as a taxpayer is that this board would scale back in approving programs, simplify many things to focus on the basics, and ideally stop accepting federal government money. This would help the board make actual local decisions that are best for Utah students. What I see and what the voting record shows is that this board, which is made up of primarily the Republican partisan, or the majority of the board are Republican partisan members, are supporting a very Democratic left agenda. I ran as a Republican for a seat on this board, and I assume that the Republicans on this board would uphold the Constitution and Bill of Rights and protect especially freedom of speech. That is part of the Republican platform. I think that many of your constituents would be seriously disappointed if they followed along with the actual votes of the board and understood the rhetoric of the policies that are going forward. Thank you to those who are actually upholding these constitutional values. I would like to also speak about honesty. Board investigations on one board member was told that a small meeting was attended by 6 board members, but when a grandma request record showed only 3 attending, honesty and transparency on this issue seems to be missing. I would encourage you to begin upholding more of the constitutional values that you've been elected for. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurel. Let's see, Monica Wilbur.
Good morning, Board. I am here today with some facts about the Board's proper role as representatives and in exercising my constitutional right to free speech. I expect that that right will be respected, and even if you don't like the sound of what I'm going to say, I expect that you will uphold your oath of office to defend the Constitution and defend my right and responsibility to say it. I'm responding to Chair Moss's questionable claim from last board meeting that my comments last month were an attack on him. Chair Moss, the fact was initially reported by KSL that you held a meeting with member Sarah Reel and 7 other unnamed board members who demanded that the board reprimand member Klein. You said it was only 6, but at this point, why should anyone trust a word you say? You give lots of lip service to transparency, but somehow being transparent doesn't apply to the roles other board members played in trying to defame member Klein's reputation, especially Sarah Reel's role. Chair Moss, why are you still protecting the identities of Natalie Klein's accusers on the board? And why did you, along with Vice Chairs Hart and Earl, allow Natalie's accusers to act as judges of her character in executive session meetings? Why didn't you require them to recuse themselves? Or better yet, why didn't board leadership recuse itself in deliberating on Klein's punishment by issuing your derogatory press release on Natalie Klein in the middle of what should have been a confidential investigation, and knowing that what you wrote wasn't even substantiated by the results of the USBE's internal audit analysis? Did you really consider yourselves qualified to be impartial judges in this kangaroo court? Another fact is that this board leadership has received ethics complaints about members Reel, Lear, Straight, and Wood, but yet somehow nobody at the USBE has leaked any details of these complaints to the media. Somehow the public is totally unaware if any investigations of these members are taking place at all. So strange, isn't it? After all, the USBE sprung more leaks than the Titanic when it came to releasing details on Klein's investigation to the media and the public. The double standards on display at the USBE are absurd, unprofessional, and unbecoming of the entity that oversees public education for our children and my children. These are not attacks. They are just hard facts. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. We have Ashley Rayback. Thank you, Ashley.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Ashley Rayback. I am from Provo. I have 5 children. They range in age, well, they go from first grade to senior in high school, and so I have a lot of kids in public school right now. I'm also the Region 10 PTA Director, and so that is Provo, Nebo, Juab, and Tintic. As I travel to a lot of my outer areas, I have people asking about public education, so I just wanted to say 5 things that I love about public education. First of all, a well-educated populace benefits us all. People who are well-educated go on to get better jobs, contribute more to the economy, and contribute more to society as a whole. Education is far-reaching and includes many topics. I send my children to public school not because I am not well-educated. I have a master's degree, so I consider myself well-educated, but because I don't know how to teach my wide range of children the depth and breadth of the topics that public school teaches. 2, people who are well educated are more likely to benefit the economy, pay more in taxes, and are less likely to be involved in criminal activity. 3, people who are well educated are more likely to participate in democracy and are more likely to be informed when they do so. Number 4, public education is equitable. While evidence shows that parental involvement in a child's education is a huge key to their success, the fact is that there are many parents who work, many children who come from disadvantaged backgrounds, and many children who would slip through the cracks if we as a society did not offer public education. It is our duty as a society and as a people who care about one another to educate our children, and in turn we benefit when these children grow up and become tomorrow's leaders. Number 5, education empowers individuals to be able to think critically, make better decisions, and be more innovative. Public education allows for all children to receive an education and to be able to attain these things, and offers many different types of school models to benefit all types of children and their needs. In summary, good schools contribute significantly to an entire community, not just for people with kids actively attending schools. I appreciate the work you've done in funding and bolstering public education, because indeed our very future depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. We've got Amber Bonner and Todd Kornberg. I don't know if Todd's here, but Amber, I see Amber back there. All right.
Good morning, Board. Thank you for this opportunity to come in front of you. As I mentioned last month, I am currently serving as the Education Commissioner for Utah PTA. I'm also formerly an Alpine District Board member. As I was looking over the agenda and listening to your meeting last month, the agenda for today and the meetings from last month, I noticed that you're talking about electronic devices in schools, and I wanted to tell you a story. I was concerned last month when I heard board members say that we should not have any electronic devices in our elementary schools, and this is one of the reasons. So I have a son who's currently a junior in high school. He is an exceptional math student, loves math, which I sometimes don't really understand, but he loves it. In second grade, he had a teacher who was gifted certified and chose to allow him to just go as far as he wanted in math. I have 7 children, he's my 6th. I've never experienced this before. This child chose to finish all of his second grade math within about a month of school starting, and his teacher was like, okay, where do we go now? So she, on her own, spent time coming up with what to do with him next. One of the things that she did with him was, as they were finishing the lessons in second grade math, he would finish very quickly, and she would allow him to use an electronic device to start exploring multiplication and division tables for the next school year. By the end of second grade math, he had memorized all of his multiplication tables, was multiplying and dividing 3-digit numbers, and was thoroughly enjoying this. Now, I don't credit the electronic device for making this totally possible. I credit a wonderful and kind teacher who went way out of her way to make this possible, but it did help. And it helped her have an easier way to let him practice multiplication tables, because she didn't have that in her classroom based on the fact that she was not a third grade teacher, she was a second grade teacher. As he has gone on in school, we have been very blessed to have teachers every single year who have gone out of their way that far for him. So now as a junior in high school, he got a 5 on the BC calculus test last year, and is looking at taking math in college this year and next year because there are no more classes in the high school realm that we're in. Those things will also be done on electronic devices because he will have to take courses probably online. So I'm just saying, I don't think that we should have electronic devices be the main mode of education for our children, but they are a tool that our teachers can use, and they can use them as young as elementary school. So I would like us to be careful when we're talking about taking away tools for our teachers and how those things might impact our students. I appreciate the work that all of you are doing. And I know that this is such a huge job for you, and I can imagine how many emails you get every week and how many constituents are reaching out to you. Thank you for all that you're doing, and I'm so grateful for public education here in Utah.
Thank you, Amber. Do we have Todd? If not, that concludes our public comment. All right, thank you all for participating. We appreciate all of your input and feedback.